Module 2, Lesson 10. Sorry about that. Let's start with our learning intention. Thoughtful mathematicians estimate and measure liquid volume in liters and milliliters using the vertical number line. So let's take a look at today's vocabulary. We've already seen the metric system a few times, and the metric system is a system of measurement based on tens. The basic unit for capacity is the liter, which is what we're going to look at today, and another word for capacity is volume, how much space is inside of an object. The basic unit of length is the meter, and something we've already looked at is the basic unit of mass, which is the gram. We looked at grams and kilograms, and we read scales to determine those measurements. So volume, like I said, is the number of cubic units that it takes to fill a figure. So cubic units will mainly be used for solid volume. We're going to look at liquid volume today. So instead of cubic units, we're going to be using liters and milliliters. A liter is the basic unit for capacity or volume in the metric system, and 1 liter is equal to 1,000 milliliters. Now, to kind of help you imagine what a liter is, when you go to the supermarket and you buy soda in those large bottles, those are usually 2 liters or a 2-liter bottle. So about half of that bottle would be 1 liter. So liters are quite large. A milliliter is much smaller, like it says, and you need 1,000 milliliters to get to 1 liter. And these little droppers, you see them in our classroom and in science and in movies, about that, they usually have about 10 drops, and that is only 1 milliliter. So 1,000 milliliters, like I said, equals 1 liter. So milliliters are much smaller in comparison to a liter. So let's look, how would we use milliliters to measure the liquid inside a container? Well, let's look here. I have a container and I have my lines to measure the amount of liquid in this particular container, and I'm using milliliters to measure this. Well, I see that it's in between 900 and 1,000 milliliters. It looks closer to the 1,000 milliliter mark than the 900 milliliter mark. So I'm going to say that this is about 1,000 milliliters. So I want you to go ahead and try this one. How many liters or how much liquid is in this container? We're using liters for this particular container. So it's about 2 liters because it goes up exactly to the 2-liter mark. Go ahead and try this last one. So it's about 5 liters because, again, I look at it and it goes up to the 5-liter mark. So that's how you read the measurements of a liquid container, and this is particularly when you have beakers or any other container that has these marks to measure the amount of liquid in the container. Generally, like soda bottles and hair products don't tell you or have these marks on them. They will tell you on the bottom how many ounces or liters or milliliters it has, but they don't usually have these lines to help you measure. These are specific containers used to measure liquids. So now we're going to look at vertical number lines to help us measure liquid capacity. The chart below shows the capacity of 4 barrels. Barrel A is 75 liters, barrel B holds 68 liters, barrel C holds 96 liters, barrel D holds 52 liters. So I'm going to use this chart and this vertical number line to help us fill in or answer these questions or prompts. So the first thing says to label the number line to show the capacity of each barrel. Barrel A has been done for you. So for barrel A, it says 75 liters. They labeled barrel A and the amount right here. So I noticed that it's counting up by tens, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. And for 75, they placed it right in between 80 and 70 on the second long line. So there's long lines every 10. And in between each 10, there's another longer line. And that represents 5 because each of these little marks represent 1. 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. So I'm going to use this to help me figure out where barrel B would go on this number line. Well, 68 liters. So I know it's going to go before 70, but after 60. So I'm actually going to start with 70 because I can count back because 68 is very close to 70. Well, 70, 70, if I go back one, 69, and then another one, 68, so 68 would go right here. This is where barrel B would go. So I want you to try and figure out where barrel C would go on this number line. So go ahead and pause the video and place barrel C on the number line and then press play when you're ready to check if you placed it correctly. So barrel C I know is going to go between 90 and 100 liters. Now, if I remember, this is 95 because it's halfway. So 95 would be here. So one more would bring me up to 96. So barrel C would go right here. Barrel C. Barrel D. So again, pause the video and determine where barrel D would go on this vertical number line. All right, welcome back. If you haven't already, please remember to pause the video and place barrel D on the number line, then come back when you're ready. So barrel D is 52, so it's going to be between 50 and 60 liters. So if I start at 50 and count up to more, 51, 52, it's going to go right here, barrel D. So which barrel has the greatest capacity? Well, I see based on my vertical number line that barrel C has the most. It's the highest on my number line, and the number line goes from lower numbers or lesser numbers to greater numbers. So barrel C has the greatest. So I'm going to say the answer to this is barrel C. So what about the next question? Which barrel has the smallest capacity? What do you think? Well, again, if we look at our number line, barrel D is the opposite. It goes lowest, so closer to 40, which is the least amount. So barrel D is actually the least or smallest capacity. So I'm going to model how I answer D, and then I want you to answer E. Ben buys a barrel that holds about 70 liters. Which barrel did he most likely buy? Explain why. Well, this is where 70 liters is. And I see barrel B and barrel A are both very close to 70. Now, I'm trying to think back to rounding from second grade. I remember that when I round, the second number, well, actually, let me be more clear. For example, if I'm rounding to the tens place, and let me look at barrel B, 68. When I'm rounding to the tens place, I am looking at the ones place to determine what's going to happen to the tens place. So this 8 makes the 6 round up, because if I think of my rules, 5 or more round up, 4 or less round down. So this would actually round up to 70. If I look at 75, and even if I look on the number line, well, this is the halfway mark. So 75 would round up, but also if I look back at that rule again, the 5 makes the 7 round up, so I would get 80. So if I'm thinking about, estimation, right, and rounding is a great way to estimate, I'm going to say that barrel B is about 70 liters because it rounds up to 70. Barrel A rounds up to 80, so that's about 80 liters really, not 70. So barrel B makes the most sense for this question. And that's because 68 rounds up to 70 liters. So I want you to go ahead and answer E. Use the number line to find out how many more liters barrel C can hold than barrel B. So how much more can barrel C hold than barrel B? Barrel C and barrel B. How much more can this one hold compared to this one? So pause the video now and then press play when you're ready to check your work. All right, welcome back. So there are actually 2 ways to solve this, and it doesn't matter which one you used, as long as you used it accurately. So the first way, depending on your preference, is actually to just subtract, because I want to find out how much more. So I'm looking for the difference, and difference is the answer to subtraction problem. 96 for barrel C and 68 for barrel B. So I had to do some regrouping here. 6 minus 8 I cannot do because 8 is greater than 6. I can't take away 8 from 6. So I'm going to go over to the tens place and regroup. So 9 tens actually becomes 8 tens because I'm regrouping 1 10 from the tens place to the ones place. So if I add a 10 to 6, 10 plus 6 is 16. So now I have 16 ones. 16 minus 8 is 8. 8 minus 6 is 2. So I have 20, it's 28 more liters. The other option was to use the number line. Well, from barrel B to barrel C, I can count up. So first I can go up 2 to 70 plus 2. Then from 70 to 80, I can go up 10 plus 10. Then from 80 to 90, I can go up another 10 plus 10. And then from 90 to 96, I can go up 6 more. Sorry about that. 6. There we go. Okay, so 10 plus 10 is 20. 20 plus 6 is 26. Plus the last 2 is 28. 26 plus 2 is 28. So I still get 28 liters as my answer. 28 more liters. All right, thank you so much for watching. As always, you can reach out to me on Schoology or Hangouts if you have any questions. And in today's problem set, you'll have questions where you'll have to use a number line to answer questions about the capacity or the volume of different containers. And then you also have to determine the measurement or how much liquid is in the container, similar to these. All right, bye everyone.